Well, Spencer Pratt is lighting up Gavin Newsom like it's the Palisades fire all over again. Denise Richards is battling it out in court with her ex, Aaron Phypers, who is now taking the stand. Katie Porter, who is apparently our California governor candidate, has gone viral. Lots to discuss there, lots to get into. I hope you're ready for it. Let's dive in. This is No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, October 9th. What's up, everybody in the club? Hope you guys are having a great week thus far. We have today's show, Thursday, Friday, and then we will have a Saturday show to make up for the show that we missed on Monday because I was at a day of unreasonable conversation. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a fun Saturday live. I know most of your favorite content creators don't go live on the weekend, so we will be going live this weekend. And if you are a member of the Zacktivated No Filter All Access fully Zacktivated plan, then we have book club this Sunday. It will be a Zoom. We will be discussing the book. So hopefully you will have 107 Days Read by Sunday. You got some time, so get up on it. 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 All right. Where do we want to start? What do we want to do? Where do we want to take it first? So much to get into. Am I right? You know what I'm talking about, Zach. Oh, thank you. The haircut is fresh. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly for getting this hair looking fresh. It's nice and little trim, little trimsy. Got the little salt and pepper rocking. We're doing the damn things. Everybody in the club. Thank you guys for continuing to leave reviews on Apple Podcasts and comments on Spotify. I really appreciate you. Maybe we do a couple of shout outs just to get things going, just to say thank you for all the love in the club. We got quite a few that came in this week. First up, CCKD Texas says, always a fun listen, 5 stars. In a sometimes too serious world, tuning into you is fun and lighthearted. Thanks, CC. Celia D1 says, congratulations, 5 stars. My first podcast review. I just want to give you your flowers because you are well-spoken and many other things. I want to make it short. Most definitely, you do deserve a seat at the table. Continued success, and I'm here to watch you grow. Thank you, Celia. I appreciate that. Let's see. Love Cat Linz says this podcast to brighten your day. 5 stars. The podcast is really fun. It's often out of my wheelhouse because I'm not that interested in celebrity culture and reality TV. I found Zack's podcast randomly at the beginning of the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama. I am now a daily listener, often have no clue about anything TVT he discusses because he brings so much more to the table than pop culture. His intelligence, common sense, and his authentic presence on screen, along with his clever commentary, make a really good podcast to add to your day. I can't help but be laughing and getting amped up too when Zack gets Zacktivated. Thank you for the show. Thank you, Linz. I appreciate that. And then last shout out we'll do this morning. This one comes from Quarter Pony. Quarter Pony says, truly balanced, 5 stars. I'm a person that needs to manage my stress. I don't need to watch someone who rage baits or is a perpetual victim. I watch Zack Peter every single day, not only is Zack passionate, he is thoughtful in his words. If he makes a mistake, he owns up to it. He stands behind his convictions, always giving a reason behind it. You don't have to agree with him to respect his honesty. That being said, I do find it difficult to disagree with Zack on many issues. The best part about Zack is he makes it safe to disagree with him. I truly think that in person, we could have an honest and thoughtful conversation about anything. And that's why I listen to Zack every day. Thank you, Quarter Pony. You guys, these are so sweet. I love when you're so detailed and you give me specific reasons and examples why you're enjoying the show. And if you want to continue to, enjoy together further, we do have monthly Zoom meetings with our No Filter All Access members. So if you would like to become a member on Supercast, you can sign up on Supercast for No Filter All Access. You get daily episodes that are completely ad-free. You get all the things, all the good things. Bonus episodes, the Zack tour. We have a docuseries that we're going to be launching later this fall. So get ready for all that. You can go to nofilterwithzack.com to sign up, or there's a link in the description below. Whew. Okay. Should we start with the fires? I guess we can start with the fires. Oh, and then, oh my, the Katie Porter stuff is going to be quite the adventure. But so we have an update. Do you guys remember earlier this year, at the very beginning of the year, when, I was trying to fundraise and help raise money and supplies for families that had been displaced by the LA fires, specifically the Eaton fires, and of course the Palisades fires back in, what was it, January? Remember how I was like, guys, something about these fires don't add up. I have questions. Something about this is off. This is not climate change. This doesn't feel like climate change. Like, what the hell? Embers don't fly 40 miles and start lighting fires all around the city. Something about this is off. Well, it looks like my intuition wasn't too bad, even though people kept trying to cancel me over it. And they were saying that I was crazy and all this stuff. Well, dun, dun, dun. Man fascinated with fire imagery arrested in Palisades blaze. This is in the New York Times, by the way. Officials say that Jonathan Rinderknecht, and he also goes by Jonathan Rinder instead of Rinderknecht. He's 29, lives in Melbourne, Florida, and he intentionally set an earlier fire that rekindled a week later into the devastating blaze that killed 12 people in the Palisades. Dun, dun, dun. What? Oh, wait, here's another one. ABC 7, 29-year-old man accused of starting blaze that turned into destructive Palisades fire. Here is a photo of him. So what they're saying is there was the, here's another one. Another one. Thank you. This is in the Los Angeles Times. Breaking news. 2 fatal hours that planted the seeds of destruction in the Pacific Palisades. Uber driver accused of intentionally starting a fire that destroyed the Pacific Palisades. Look at that. It is breaking news. Something that Zack Peter said back in January when you guys all wanted to cancel him for it. And they're like, Zack, how dare you? How dare you say these things? How dare you question climate change? How dare you question our leaders? You don't know any better. What are you? Who are you to question these things? Let's just go through some of the comments that people were sending me at that time. Do you guys remember? 'Cause I remember all the mean, evil, nasty things that you guys were saying to me. It's just it's crazy how, you know, I ended up being right, and there were all of these moments where people wanted to be mean to me and be like, "You don't know what you're talking about." It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just, there are just so many things so many questions that I had. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions, but you guys shamed us and bullied us and screamed at us for asking questions. And I may go on a little bit of a Zactivated rant, and we'll get into all of that. But, so I guess officials, they're saying that this Jonathan Rinder guy, he's the one that he started the Lockman fire, which was on New Year's Day. That I guess it was. So it seems he's an Uber driver, and they're saying that he dropped off a couple of his passengers, I assume coming from New Year's Eve parties, and then he went on to light the Lockman fire, and that was the morning of New Year's Day. Ultimately, it went on to burn down the Palisades because it wasn't properly contained and continued to burn under until eventually the embers ended up, blowing things up on the Palisades. So he's currently facing fire damage of this extent, has a minimum of 5 years, a mandatory minimum of 5 years in prison, but he could potentially be facing up to 20 years in prison. We'll see what happens. Spencer Pratt has been, going off about it, saying that he's feeling very vindicated, that this was the theory that his attorneys had been trying to push forward from the very beginning, that it was very obvious that, there was that this could have been related to the Lockman fire that wasn't properly contained. So yeah, I think that, there's a lot to take in here. So I'm pretty sure Spencer's lawsuit with all the people in the Palisades is going to move forward, and it's hopefully going to bring some sort of justice and hold our city officials or our state officials accountable, because that's really what we need right now. We need accountability because this is a whole lot of coconut tree crock of BS. But remember how at that time, look at these were some of the messages that I was getting. D. Pierre on Instagram said, stick to gossip. You're not a climate scientist. Bootlicking millionaire crash outs isn't the wave. Wow. It doesn't take a climate scientist to crack that code that, hey, all of these fires popping up all over LA doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But thank you, D. Pierre. Thank you for your comments. Oh, and then we had this one. This one from I5 Runnin'. I actually know I5 Runnin'. We have been running in some of the same friend group circles, and he was always very friendly to me. And then he saw that I posted my video back in January, and he said, not a natural disaster? What do you mean? And I said, multiple random fires, miles apart. Palisades and Eaton are at least 35 miles apart. Then, without the high winds, we get Hollywood Hills and Studio City. There's nothing natural about that. That's misinformation and possible arson. That was always my position. I never perpetuated Diddy conspiracy theories. I never said that that climate change did not have any role in this. But let's also be clear that the winds were only really bad for 1, maybe 2 nights. Okay. I was in LA. I remember watching this. I remember being on the phone with Donna. I remember FaceTiming Donna, and Donna's like, look at these winds. These winds are really crazy. And that was only 1 night that we had really crazy winds. Let's not rewrite history. Donna and I were documenting it every single day on our Instagram accounts, and people were getting mad at us. I said 8 separate fires, miles apart, don't just naturally occur. 1, maybe. 2 is suspect, but still possible. But 8 miles and miles apart doesn't make sense. And then, Trevor here, these are all public Instagram comments, decided to write back. And he wrote, there were high winds all day yesterday with zero humidity, making it a perfect storm for a fire to occur from even the smallest spark catching onto something. Embers can travel miles and sparks can occur from anything in nature, aka a rock rolls down a hill. This is also coming off the record from low rainfall for this time of year, so the landscape is dry as well. Mismanagement is one thing, but to suggest that these fires started from an arson is a little tone deaf. And I responded, there's been zero evidence to prove that there was an arson. Why is it so far-fetched? Why is it such a far-fetched concept? It's not even fire season. It's been 70 degrees. The winds are to blame for the spread, but not for 8 new fires. And absolutely, this is mismanagement. Well, Trevor didn't like that comment, so he then unfollowed me. And when I've seen him in person, has refused to even acknowledge my presence, him amongst, other acquaintances and friends, or just people in the content creator world that I now see at these different events that, try to avoid me like I'm the plague, like I'm going to come and bring the next COVID. Right. But these weren't even the worst, right? These were just comments that people were making on my post. I would say the text messages that I got from people in my life were even worse than that. Look at this one. As the fires were happening, I got this text message on Wednesday, January 8th at 7:23 p.m. And John writes me, and John says, please be safe. There's asbestos in that smoke and other toxins, obviously, because the air was full of black smoke from the fires. And they sent a praying hands emoji, like, thank you. Luckily, I wasn't near any of the fires, but I understand how, the wind was blowing some of that smoke into other areas of downtown or of other areas of LA, specifically through downtown. And then when he saw my videos on Instagram, he politely wrote to me after just a few hours earlier. That was at 7:23 p.m. And by 1:19 a.m., I get this message from John. You're a fucking idiot who makes money off of Hollywood in air quotes, quotes. The fact that you think these fires are deliberate is sad. I hope you get what's coming to you. Pathetic. Well, to John and to Trevor and to D. Pierre and to all those people that had all sorts of shit to talk, guess what? Here's the New York Times. Here's ABC7. Here's the LA Times. All of these people have now confirmed my theory. You know why? Because I was unafraid to challenge the narrative that someone like Karen Dumb Bass was putting out there. Because clearly they wanted us to believe a narrative that deflected from their own responsibility, right? And I, along with someone like Spencer Pratt and even my friend Donna Bowling, were one of the few people that were willing to go out publicly and question these things and show videos from our phones and be like, this is what's happening here in Los Angeles on the ground. And everybody else didn't want to. They were afraid. And I hate this damn narrative. Now I'm going to get a little activated because I hate this narrative now, because we have all these people, and so many of them now, they're just like, oh, well, we didn't know any better, Zach. We didn't know any better. Bullshit. No, actually, some of us did know better. Some of us knew that something was off, and some of us questioned it. And what did you do? You shamed us. You bullied us. You unfollowed us. You got mad at us. You called us right-wing conspiracy theory wackos because we questioned what? Our Democrat leaders? And you want to say, I'm part of a MAGA cult? Go fuck yourself, okay? I've never been MAGA. As much as people want to continue to put me in that box because I call out Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass that happen to be Democrats, you guys turned this into a political issue as people's lives burned to the ground. You look at the Palisades and it is ash. It is gone. Those are people's lives that are gone. I did not turn this into a political issue. I asked questions and I pushed back on the narrative that they were trying to sell us because it didn't make sense. You made it political. You cut people off. You ostracize people. And guess what? The bullshit climate change argument is completely invalid now. Now, I also want to make it clear that I'm not saying that it's not possible that climate change may have played some sort of role in the spread. The winds were strong that one night, and they were a little strong the next day as well, but the winds did not spread 8 different fires. Okay. And yeah, there was brush that should have been cleared up. That's all mismanagement from the city leading back to the Lockman fires. Okay. All connected now. Right now, we have a case, we have an arrest. There's probably a lot more to this story, but at least for right now, we're on that path. Right. And again, I want to be very clear. I never perpetuated Diddy conspiracy theories or, smart city conspiracy theories. I was like, these are some of the theories that people are talking about. I don't know what the situation is, but I just know that what we're being sold is not true. Okay. Not true. But let's be clear. The findings suggest, okay, that we had the Lockman fire, and had that been contained and not burned for a week, that the Palisades fire would have never started. And furthermore, had we had enough resources, had there been water in the reservoirs, which has proven to have been true, the reservoirs were locked. The fire department didn't go into them. Spencer Pratt went with his videos and showed us the locks on the reservoirs. We found out that there was a reservoir that was empty. They tried to debunk that and ended up being true. Maybe if we had these resources available and, the fire department was more prepared and someone like Karen Dumbass wasn't, what was she, in Ghana at the time that her city was burning down, maybe we would have been able to contain it so it didn't blow up the way that it did. Okay. And when other fires start popping up, all it did was further deplete the resources because then the city was completely ill-equipped to handle one fire, let alone multiple fires that were popping up all over the city that were not all spread by the winds because they came up over a matter of several days, multiple days, that the winds did not carry that on. Okay. Also very clear that the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire were not because of the winds. Again, that was 35 to 45 mile difference. Okay. Embers don't fly that far. So I ain't fucking buying that story anymore. And I am going to flex on it. And I am going to stand 10 toes down with my chest puffed up, right? Throw my dick on the table. Boom. Why? Because I was brave enough to go against the mainstream common narrative, and you shamed me for it. You ostracized for me. You kicked me out. You kicked me in the teeth when you saw me on the ground, and you thought that it was funny because you were, upholding your moral superiority? How's it feeling up there on your high horse these days, huh? I bet there's a little piece of humble pie that you could be taking, but guess what? Your ego is too damn big to even admit that you were wrong. So you're going to continue to double down on the climate change narrative, and you're going to continue to perpetuate this. Well, we just didn't know any better. I'm not taking it anymore. We just didn't know any better. We did know better. It's giving 2020, and we ain't doing that shit again. We just didn't know any better. Some people did. Some experts did. Some people that were boots on the ground, that were watching this shit play out, they knew better, or they at least knew better enough to question the narrative that was being shoved down our throats, to absolve our current local administration of taking on any accountability. But listen, it's fine. I remember you, every single one of you, all of you, the ones who shamed me, shunned me, ostracized me, unfollowed me, the friends that cut me off, The people that I now see at these events that try to avoid me like I'm the plague, I remember exactly who you are. And I hope it feels real good up on that high horse of yours. I really do. Because this whole we didn't know any better is total bullshit. We didn't need to know any better to not be an asshole. You were assholes. Okay? I'm going to call it out now. Because I hope it feels real good as you sit up there on your high horse and eat your humble pie that I know you're going to refuse to eat because you still, can't accept that maybe, just maybe, you put faith in a Democratic leader that failed you, especially coming off our last administration that absolutely failed us because we had a brain dead president and a vice president and a press secretary that were all lying to the American people and lying to the press. And the press continued to perpetuate that lie as they censored anybody that questioned them. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it because that's the only way we can heal from it and learn from it and move forward from it so that we don't keep falling into the same cycle of bullshit. Okay? Same cycle. On that note, let's take a quick ad break. Sorry. Okay, I know you've seen a million different ads for hair growth products and thought, yeah, sure, like that actually works. I did too, okay? And then I found Nutrafol, which I can confidently say isn't like the rest of them. Nutrafol is physician formulated, clinically tested, and dermatologist recommended. If you're dealing with hair issues like thinning or shedding, but you feel stuck and aren't sure what to try next, I highly recommend you give Nutrafol a try, okay? Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel great about what you're putting into your body since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified. That's the gold standard, okay, in third-party certification for supplements. See thicker, stronger, faster hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code NOFILTER. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code NOFILTER. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code NOFILTER. Michelle says, the higher the horse, the harder they fall. Don't hold your breath waiting for a sincere apology. Keeping you, Zack. I don't think they're ever going to fall off their horse. I mean, they keep falling out of a coconut tree, but I don't think they're ever going to fall off their horse because their horse isn't even real. It's a fake little pony. They're riding My Little Pony thinking that they're so, virtuous and they're the good guys. Okay. Got it. Okay. I don't expect a sincere apology. I know that I'll never get that. I know that they'll just look at me and be like, whoa, he's crazy. He's spiraling. They'll roll their eyes. They'll keep moving on and they'll keep their head in the sand. And that's the sad and unfortunate part is it doesn't matter how many times these lies are exposed. It doesn't matter how many times, they're proven wrong because they want to shame you and put their finger in your face and tell you all the things that you're doing that are bad because that's what they're being told. Right now, they're putting their finger in your face and screaming about fascism as they go march in the streets for their No Kings protest part 3. How many fucking kings do we have left? How many more protests do we need to have against the kings who are they? Where are the kings? Find me the kings. Are the people here marching in LA marching about King Gavin Newsom? Because there's a number of things we can go into him. It's such a joke that that's who the Democratic Party thinks is going to be the front leader to take down Republicans in the next election. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy town. Crazy, crazy, crazy. On that note, let's pivot a little bit because have you guys seen this woman? Her name is Katie Porter. Okay. Katie Porter. And personally, I think she looks like, have you seen Harry Potter? So this is Katie Porter and she is running for California governor and she's going viral because she has been doing some press interviews that haven't gone too hot for her. But, she reminds me of, if you're Harry Potter fans, you'll get a kick out of this, but she reminds me of Dolores Umbridge. Remember Umbridge? She was that real, like real uptight, like broomstick up her ass professor, and she was like real mean and real snooty. Well, I feel like that's what we're getting right now with Katie Porter. She's been all over the internet right now because she was doing an interview. She did an interview with CBS News. The journalist was Julie Watts, And it's going viral right now because Julie kind of pushes at her and is like asking her questions. Here, we'll play. Here, let's play one of the videos. We'll play this clip and hold on. Let's play this clip so that you can get to know Katie Porter a little bit better, because this is what people are talking about right now.
California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump.
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're
in a general election. Yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you?
So here she's saying that the 40% of people that voted for Donald Trump in the last election, that she does not believe that those people will be, that they're not a problem, that she's going to win and she does not need their support. So if you felt like you were abandoned by the Democratic Party and you fall into that 40% of people here in California, this is what she has to say to you.
Versus another Democrat.
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say.
Yeah, maybe before, but we're talking about 2025. The world has changed. The country has shifted quite a bit in the last 12 months, lady.
If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't.
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
What is your question? This is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question? She puts her hands on her face.
The question is the same thing I asked everybody.
And then she points to the question on the paper. She's like, the question is, we gave your team these questions. This is the question.
That this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy.
See, she's so condescending.
Answer the question as you have it written and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that.
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you.
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
Here she thought she was going to have a viral moment where she walks off like she's Joan Rivers or Teresa Giudice, and she thinks she's going to have a big moment. Which, first of all, whoever on her team allowed for this lighting and these angles, like, clearly doesn't like her.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care.
She said she doesn't care. This is who she wants. She wants to be the leader of California. And as a Californian myself, as a resident of California, born and raised, I don't know if I have faith in somebody that can't sit and answer some follow-up questions.
I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end an interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make.
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these. And if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So.
I mean, my God.
So nearly every legislative.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you.
Really? Because you look like a very unhappy lady.
And I don't want this all on camera.
Sorry, too bad. That's what happens when you do on-camera interviews, lady.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting, it's a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
My goodness gracious almighty, Katie. What a time. And so everybody's posting about it. Oh my God, this is another crazy clip of hers where she talks about, so that was CBS. Here's another one where she talks about abortion.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And
well, I love that that's like her first response. Like, did someone punch you? Did someone hit you? Like, what? Like, she's crying. And
she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people, and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights.
So that was on a show called The Issue Is. And what's crazy about this one is she's saying that her 12-year-old daughter, which, first of all, how many 12-year-olds are realistically coming to their parents and being like, oh, I'm worried about the current administration and what that's going to do to my rights. No, that's not how 12-year-olds think. If this is a real conversation and this is exactly what her 12-year-old was crying about, then that's not because she's afraid of the current administration. That's because you as a parent have instilled that fear into your child. Your child is 12 years old and is worried about real world issues that she can't do anything about. That is the environment that you are putting your daughter in. That is psychological and emotional and mental abuse on a child. That is that is a case of child abuse if you're instilling that type of fear in your child. As a parent, your job is to protect your children and to make them feel safe and to make sure that you raise good quality people in this world, but it's not to project your own political dogma and bullshit onto your 12-year-old kid. So again, if this is a real conversation that you had with your 12-year-old daughter, first of all, your 12-year-old should not be scared of the president of the United States. Your daughter's way too young to be worried about world politics or even just our country's politics. It's crazy to me. Oh, this one's my favorite. This is an interview that she was doing. I think it was about climate change here in California and about like renewable energy. And she goes off on one of her staffers. Look at this one. So this is footage that was obtained by Politico, but this was back in 2021. So this isn't even recent. This is just newly resurfaced.
Early to air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually correct. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't make the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord. Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money.
Crazy lady, cuckoo bird. This is who wants to be the next governor. I would rather keep Newsom than this wackadoodle. Honestly, I would rather keep Newsom. Elizabeth 3G says, Katie Porter seems very angry. I worry for her health. I mean, my God. Lorraine said she wants to do to her constituents what she has done to her daughter. I mean, yikes. Lynn says, you called it, Zack. 12-year-olds should be worried about studies and sports. They don't have time for politics. She's too young. She can't even vote in an election. She's 12 years old. And you're scaring her with these issues of the world that you should be, educating her on, but also protecting her from. Like, these are conversations that are a little too big for a 12-year-old to be worried about. The 12-year-old should not be worried about getting raped. Like, you need to keep your children safe and guide and not shield them from the horrors of the world, but like protect them to some extent instead of instilling that fear. It's insane. Mandy says, I want to know what Democrat from California is running against her, putting this bad footage out there about her. So far, I don't know who the others are. I didn't even know who she was until yesterday. But doesn't she remind you of Umbridge, Professor Umbridge from Harry Potter? It's like Brigitte Macron in E.T. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. Wow, she seems unhinged. So unhinged. So she's going viral. She's all over the internet. It's crazy. Munchie says, was that her 12-year-old that she yelled at like that? My kiddos are all adults. I don't even speak to them that way. No, I don't think it was one of her kids. It appeared to have been one of her staff members that she was yelling at like that. That was also back in 2021. So it was 4 years ago. So that would make her daughter 8, 9-ish, about 8 or 9 in 2021 at the time that was filmed. So that wasn't her daughter. She reminds me of the gym teacher from Glee. Jane Lynch? Jane Lynch? Is that who you're thinking of? Are we allowed to say Lynch anymore? Are we allowed to say Jane's last name? LOL, like Joe Rogan showing Brigitte Macron sitting down years ago. I don't know what that reference is to, but yeah, I did see Rogan talking about like Newsom and how Newsom so desperately wants to run for president, but it's like LA and California have really circled the drain, and I don't know if that's necessarily the best track record to be running for the president. No, the gym football coach. Oh, I didn't watch Glee, so I don't know. I don't remember who that is. Porter's an angry elf. Yeah. 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 So we'll see. I'd actually prefer Professor Umbridge any day. You prefer Umbridge over Katie Porter? That says a lot. So, yeah. Happy days. Mom looks so much better. Yay. I'm glad to hear that, Jennifer. Sending you love. Love, love, love. Love in the club. It's okay, Zach. It was a random comment. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We love random comments. Is Danielle in the live chat? Billy says he thinks his looks will get him through. A lot of crazy people vote looks before merit. It's true. We are still a shallow culture. Yeah. What a time. What a time. What a time. What a time. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see who ends up being the front runner there. But California, Katie or not, ain't doing so hot. Ain't doing so hot. Oh, look at there's an alleged text message between Katie and her staffer. Katie says, Sasha, I cannot allow you back in the office given your failure to follow office policies. Cody will be in touch about having your personal effects shipped or delivered to your home and will lay out your remote work schedule and responsibilities for your last few weeks. And then it appears Sasha responded. Sasha said, I understand. Thank you for the last 2 years and all that I have learned. I have to have disappointed you in the manner, as I know it isn't an excuse. I found out my friend from the Navy had been murdered and my head was not in the best place. Not an excuse, but the reason for my lack of forethought. I appreciate everything this office has done for me. And then Katie Porter responds and she says, well, you gave me COVID. In 25 months, it took you not following the rules to get me sick. My children have nobody to care for them. Girl, you gave me COVID. Well, my goodness. My goodness. Oh, wait, here's okay, wait, one, is this the one with, oh yeah, this is where she talks about Riley Gaines and this is from 2023. Riley Gaines and Piers Morgan, and she was on Bill Maher. But I mean, that's more of they talk about like trans women and women's sports, and we don't need to get into all that. But Katie Porter out there, and every single one of them, I like her less and less. Not that I ever liked her to begin with. I despise her more and more, I should say. She fell out of the coconut tree first. Yeah, she sure did. She sure did. Okay, let's move on to Denise Richards and Aaron Phypers. Oof, this is getting messy, messy, messy. So we heard Denise's testimony where we got into it yesterday, all the details of her and the alleged abuse from Aaron Phypers. And Aaron is fighting back. He is now testifying, and he's saying that he testified yesterday on Wednesday. And he's saying that it's not that he's abusive towards her. He says that, she bruises easily. That was his excuse. She bruises easily. He says that she abuses painkillers and alcohol. And as a result of that, she's just always ending up with bruises all over her arms. And he doesn't know how. He just sees her and she's always bruised. And her story is that he, harms her. He like grabs her by the arm, which would make sense as to why she had bruises all over her arm. Or he said that one time she was so drunk that she fell walking up the stairs and got a black eye. And it's just like, what? No, no. And then she would say, or she claims that he would hit her. And then she'd be like stunned. And he'd be like, I didn't hit you. What are you talking about? Like he would try to gaslight her to her face. He would hit her, allegedly, and then would immediately be like, I didn't hit you. And so it's weird, but then it's also kind of crazy seeing him on the stand and him just being like, well, yeah, she would bruise easy. Like, what do you like? I don't know. She was always ended up with bruises all over the time. Like, is it truly like a disconnect, or is he like a serial gaslighter? Like, I would love to get into the psyche of somebody like Aaron Phypers who can I mean, is that narcissism? I don't know. It isn't looking good, and I feel so bad for Denise. Or it's not looking good in terms of what went on in their marriage, but I'm hopeful that this divorce will be settled and that this restraining order will stand. We'll see what happens. People are testifying. His cousin ended up testifying and saying that she witnessed Aaron abusing Denise physically. So hopefully this I mean, it doesn't sound like anything that he's saying makes any sense. And he says things like, no, it's not that. Like, what did he say? Something like, I don't recall. He would have a lot of that. He doesn't recall. Yeah, and the attorney asked him, does Denise bruise easily? And he said, yes, she bruises easily. He says he didn't claim to have memory of the black eye, but he does recall her being bruised around the eye at the time. He doesn't recall the black eye. You would think if your wife had a black eye like that, where there's a photo of it, you would see her at some point. You would be like, what the heck? And a black eye doesn't like that big, doesn't just go away. Like it takes time for something like that to heal. So for you to just be like, oh, you have a giant black eye, like, and that's not a red flag to you, wackadoodle crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Well, I think this is where I may leave you guys. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to become a premium member and get ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, weekly, or not weekly, but weekend live streams. You can definitely join No Filter All Access on Supercast. There's a link in the description below. I invite you to check out Nutrafol if you want some yummy, healthy hair. Look at that. Bam, bam, bam. Look at that. Bam. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. Please continue to leave your Apple Podcast reviews and your comments on Spotify, your comments on YouTube. I'll continue to do shout outs. Does Supercast have an app? No, Amy, Supercast does not have an app currently. So you can use the Supercast website, or you can also connect it to like your Apple Podcast app or your Spotify app. That way, the bonus episodes and the ad-free episodes pop up in those apps that you may already use. Christina says, it doesn't, Amy, but I think you can do it through Spotify. Yes, you can do it through Spotify. I know people that have done it through their Apple Podcast feed. So you have the option to do all of that. But I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I'll talk to you on Saturday. And on Sunday, we have book club. So if you want to be a member of our monthly book club, this month we're reading 107 Days by Kamala Harris. We will be breaking that down come Sunday. All right. Love you. Mean it. Ciao for now. Sign up for No Filter All Access. Talk to you later.